Welcome to my show. I'm a guest here. Her name is Dr. K. Julien. Dr. K, how are you doing, ma?
Great, great, Tammy. Doing great today. Thank you.
All right, Dr. K. And also, I honestly thank you for the time and the opportunity, Dr. K. Firstly, you are a physiologist. You are also a speaker and a conflict coach. Can you please, Dr. K, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Dr. K?
Right. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Tammy. It's fun to be with you and talk to you. So, as a psychologist, I am very interested in behavioral science and how we relate to one another. As a Christian woman, the pursuit of peace is very important to me. So when I decided to go back to school and get my PhD, I chose to study conflict resolution. And when I started my studies and received my training, I discovered something revolutionary. And that was that conflict isn't really the big, bad, fire breathing dragon that brings chaos into our life that we think it is. It's predictable, it has many characteristics to know, and there's a way to tame it. And the way to tame conflict is to just learn how to. And that was big news for me. It was actually good news for me. And so instead of becoming a mediator, I chose to become a conflict coach so I could help people learn how to tame that dragon and not have all that chaos in their life.
True. And I completely agree how difficult conflict could be sometimes. And to be a person who can be in the position to, give the sense of negotiation and also resolving such conflict is very powerful. As you said, you transform to become something like that because you realize that you have this sense of gifts when resolving conflict, which you've done for many and several people, which is tremendously beautiful. And I also like to drive to your book, Relationship Hurricane. Can you please, Dr. K, discuss more on the book? And do you also plan to write more books in the coming future, Dr. K?
Amy, it's an ebook. It's a free ebook for anybody who wants it. And it basically is 12 tips, ideas, actions that a person can implement in their daily communication immediately. Immediately. I called it Relationship Hurricanes. It's actually Relationship Hurricanes Disaster Preparedness 101. I named it that because I live in the States in Orlando, Florida, Central Florida, and we deal with hurricanes every year. And to someone outside of Florida, hearing about all the hurricanes, all you usually hear is the damage. When you live in Florida, what happens is you learn how to prepare for the hurricanes. You learn all kinds of ways to take care of your home, your family. You hear on the weather how far out it is, when it's going to hit. There are many, many things that we learn to prepare for the hurricanes so that when the hurricanes come, we know what to do. So that's what this ebook is about. It's for when those kinds of relationship hurricanes are heading your way, you have some ideas of how to be prepared for them and handle them. Yeah.
Hmm. Beautiful. As you said, in your state of Florida, hurricane is something we have to be 100% prepared for, and we have to check the weather forecast. And that is how conflict to work in its own way. We have to give the sense of preparation before actually achieving the sense of resolution that we actually that one actually want to work on when it comes to conflict, because they also relate. When we have situations like that, then we have to know how to program ourselves, sit down and seek to know how we can plan, prepare, and know how to execute it. When we can work that way, then we take it bit by bit and it gets the situation resolved. Also, I would like to dive to the point of the same conflict which comes to the transformational tool or mindset shift, because when one wants to try their best to actually resolve conflicts, there have to be some transformational tool or mindset shift that they can use or they can carry along with them to actually deal with conflict. So what do you think you could give to listeners with any transformation tool or also mindset shift that they can use to carry into their next conflict, Dr. K?
Yes, Tammy. So, as far as mindset shift, we've touched on it a little bit. To grasp that concept, and you said it eloquently when you responded to my answer. It's the whole idea of being prepared, the whole idea of realizing conflict can be so predictable, but we don't think of it as predictable. We just bulldoze right into it. But it's predictable. And when you learn skills, when you learn how to handle it, then you are ready to do it. But usually when we just live our life, we don't think at all about getting help with conflict, right? We don't think about learning anything. We just get through it, try to hold on till the next time, or avoid it completely. We don't think about developing the tools and the communication strategies to handle it well. I like to call it conflict intelligence. We don't think of doing that. And so that, I think, as far as mindset, that would be the one I would like to underscore so that people would know that they can learn stuff. They really can. And it doesn't have to be a chaotic thing in their life. As far as sort of a transformational tool, the one that I would definitely like to convey is that we are wired to be in relationship with one another very specifically. From a psychologist standpoint, there's a concept called differentiation of self. That's probably more, that's probably TMI. But what it is the way that we are put together to be in relationship with one another is that two things have to be in balance. The first thing is we have to feel autonomous. We have to feel like we are our own person, making our own choices, our own decision, functioning as our own self. But the second thing that has to be present is we have to feel connected to the other person, not necessarily romantically, but some kind of emotional connection, even if it's simply respect for someone that you're working with. But there has to be an emotional connection. That's just the way we're wired. And so if you think about sometime when you've had a conversation with someone in your life and it's gone well, maybe it's just been something like working out where you go to eat. You If you think about that conversation, you can tell you were thinking for yourself, what did you want, where did you want to go? And you were caring about where they wanted to go too. I mean, hopefully, hopefully. So that was in balance. And so what happens in conflict, that balance gets thrown off. Either we start to feel like we're not being ourselves, we can't be ourselves, we don't have any choice, we're something's going on with that, or one or both of you have broken that connection, that you've kind of started thinking about yourself, or they've said something that hurt you, so you don't care what they want. Something has happened to break that connection. And so if a person, obviously when I'm doing coaching with someone, we get into very specific and practical ways of doing this. But just as a beginning tool, if a person can remember that when the conversation starts to get emotional, perhaps they could develop self-awareness to say, okay, yeah, I don't feel like I'm doing things on my own anymore. I feel like I've lost that. Or I feel like my mind is just thinking what they're thinking. I can't even separate my mind from what they're thinking. Then they know, okay, I kind of have to get that back on track. Or they can say, honestly, yeah, I don't care about them in this moment. You know, I don't care about them because I don't think they care about me. And they can go, okay, yeah, the connection's broken. Okay, how do I get back to restoring that connection? And if we can, that's all it is. Conflict is just that balance being thrown off, and we just need to get it back in balance again.
Hmm. Balance and emotions. Those two things goes hand in hand. It shows that conflicts will always either it throw at us or we throw it at someone. One of all, we have to know how to give it the balance. And I have to be honest with you, Dr. K, it goes with a lot of wisdom. To be honest, it goes with a lot of wisdom for us to actually know how to balance a conflict and also try our best to control our emotions, by the way, so that we won't get to a point whereby it will be a back and forth, and it will get to a point whereby it won't even get to a point to be controlled. We do not want to get it to that point. We want to get a point whereby no matter how stage or how position it has gotten to, we want to find the balance. And no matter how connection, as you said, emotional connection does matters. No matter how connected the emotions is, we actually know how we can resolve the situation in a very, very easy way. Also, I would like to drive to the area whereby people, embrace conflicts. They feel discomfort most of the time when they really listen to, when they hear something called conflict, or how they can use it to learn, how they can use it to improve. So, personal growth often requires facing discomfort, to be honest. So, how do you think the listeners can also try their best to embrace conflicts as a teacher instead of avoiding it, Dr. K?
Well, Tammy, the interesting thing is you mentioned the discomfort that somebody feels either in trying to make a change
Exactly.
or even in thinking about conflict. And so they avoid it. But when we avoid conflict, it is not true that we are avoiding discomfort, right? Or that we are avoiding making a change, because no matter what, even if we don't want to talk about something with somebody,
Yeah.
we are still harming ourselves, because in order to do that, we have to diminish ourselves, right? We have to make ourselves smaller. We have to devalue something that matters to us in order to say I'm not going to face it. Something that matters to us, we have to say it's not important enough for me to face that. And those kinds of things are harmful to us. They talk about discomfort, right? that's that's pretty tough. Uh, because it's not a situation of I'm either going to feel the discomfort of change, uh, and versus no discomfort at all. It's two kinds of discomfort. It's very important for people to understand that when we avoid conflict, uh, we are still doing things to ourselves. It's requiring us to do something very discomforting. And like I said, I wouldn't even use the word discomfort. It's really harm to ourselves, because we're not we're not being who we are. We're sacrificing a part of ourselves to avoid it. And the truth is, um, I, when somebody learns how to handle conflict and learns some new ways to do it and focus on it, it's really not a lot of discomfort. I mean, it's really not a lot of new discomfort, right? I mean, it's still challenging. You're still trying to do it. But again, it is discomfort versus self-harm. So that I think that hopefully will encourage somebody to say, yeah, I can develop skills and resilience, and I don't have to deal with any discomfort I don't want to deal with, right? So,
as
yeah.
long as we are on earth, we are alive, we are eating, we see people every day, we meet people every day, we can't avoid conflict. It's just a normal pattern on earth. We just have to develop and grow and become better with it. As you said, even if we avoid this or we realize that we are losing a very huge part of us, which is not really helping us in many ways. We have to, even despite challenges, we want to move forward in life. We want to get a job. It's conflict. It's actually getting the battle because it is not only me that is actually trying to get this job. We are a lot of people want to get that job. So that is the beauty. It's also conflict on its own way. So there is no way we won't face it. We just have to know how we can navigate, balance, learn, and be wise enough to undo it. Look for skills, technical skills, tools that really help us to actually navigate and also help ourselves to resolve conflicts when we are actually in such positions so that we won't have a situation whereby it gets escalated and escalated. We do not want that. We want to have those techniques. We want to have those very strong and wise mindset to deal with situations. And also, I would like to drive to the point of triggers. One of the biggest things that cause conflict is triggers. So how do you think understanding their own triggers? Because how do you think someone trying his or her best to understand their own triggers help them to feel more in control and less overwhelmed in conflict situation? Dr. K.
Tammy, the first thing I'd like to say about that is to build a little bit on what you just said about how conflict is just everywhere. And I would like to normalize that a little bit because the point is we are not clones, right? We are not clones of each other.
Yeah.
So we do not have the same brain. We do not have the same life experience. We do not have the same personality. So when we when we have a conflict, even if it's just a disagreement, I mean, what's happening is we're bumping into the other person, right? We're bumping into being different people. That's all it is. That's all it is. And so when we bump into that, instead of going, man, I'm going to have to really, now I'm going to push hard for this. If we could just say, okay, I've hit it. I've hit his different brain. I've hit his different life and stop and just say, okay, let's figure this out. So where triggers come in there is that when we know what what triggers us, then as I've already said,
Yeah.
we can then say, okay, this is what happened. This triggers me. I feel this way. So, what is a remedy for what I can do in that moment? Um, say, for example, the trigger is when the other person in your life raises their voice and starts yelling, then it triggers something in you. It could be anything. Could be you yell back or you get smaller or whatever it is that it does. So when you see that, then you know how to apply something, a new thinking, a new skill. Okay, this is what I'm going to do when that happens. And so you can target exactly what it is that is happening to you. So yes, understanding triggers is very important because that is definitely the one of the first areas you want to work on so that you can be ready when that happens. So yeah, yeah,
Exactly. And those triggers really come around. When we do know or recognize our triggers, when we observe this something, little things that actually made us upset, we start to understand that I think these little things actually make me to go cross my line. And also knowing how we can try our best to control it and also try our best to maintain that trigger is really helping, honestly speaking, because we now know that I'm in this position. We know how to control it and we still know how to carry along despite the conflict we are having. It is so powerful on its own
yeah,
way. So it is so powerful. And we have to just have this sense of navigation because, as you said earlier, we all have different thinking. I am Temitope, I am in Nigeria, Dr. K is in the United States. We have different thinking. So that is just it. We have to actually come around and meet people that are different, actually have some kind of disagreement and things like and it's okay. We have to embrace and see how we can resolve it and see because that is just the only way we can move forward. Lastly,
yes.
I would also just like to drive to the point of communication. What do you think are some of the daily communication practices you think listeners can try their best to adopt to feel more empowered in their relationship and at their work or home, Dr. K?
Yes, yes. I also want to mention we have used the word control a lot in referring to things that we do for ourselves. I would like to offer that it's not so much trying to control something, say a trigger. It's not so much trying to control a trigger to maybe not have it happen or keep it in check. It's finding the remedy for the trigger so that you actually do something. You're not just in that conversation trying to control yourself. You actually take some kind of action so that you can continue. So these these few things that you asked about, a few ideas in daily life, that's sort of the direction I'm coming from, some actions. So the most important, first and foremost above everything, is to listen first. Listen first, right? Usually we want to say our side, we want to interrupt the other person, we're thinking about what we want to say to them, and we don't listen. And the most important thing is to listen first. Listen to what they're saying. Listen to what they're trying to tell you. Oftentimes, when someone starts to tell us what's wrong, halfway through what they're saying, we start talking, and because we think we know what they're saying, but if we don't let them finish, sometimes we're completely off, right? So we have to that might be one area that we use the word self-control. uh, that that we must listen. We must listen first to what they're saying, and then along with that, we it's good to ask them to be specific. Sometimes when we let them talk and we're listening, we get lost in what they're saying, especially if they're venting a lot of emotions or something. We get lost in what they're saying, and we're not even sure anymore what it is we're talking about or what it is they want. And so if we're aware that, okay, yes, I've listened, I've let them talk, and I still don't know what's going on, then we ask those kinds of questions. So tell me exactly what it is that you want me to do, or tell me again how you want this to go. I mean, those are examples, but the point is, stop and ask them to be specific so that you know exactly what they want, exactly what they're talking about. because oftentimes we just ramble, right? We just ramble and it's like shooting darts at a dartboard. It's like what are we? What is this conflict about? So listening first, being very specific, get them to be very specific, and the same goes for you. You might be rambling, and the other person looks dazed because they don't know what you want, so if you can be specific too, that's good. And then the third thing is, and by the way, all these things are in the ebook also. um, the third thing is to try to create some space for you to think. If the conversation, whether it's getting emotional or whether you're getting confused, whatever's happening, when you can tell you've gone down some road that you hadn't expected to do, just find a way to take a break. In American football, we have this thing called a timeout when things are going on in the field and they have to kind of regroup, and they got to stop the clock, or they don't stop the clock. Sorry for all the football fans, but anyway, and they have to stop and decide what new play are we going to do? What are we going to do? And so anything that can create some space for you, even if you have to say, okay, give me a minute. I need to think about this. Or I need 5 minutes, or I think I know what you want, but I've got to figure this out. So give me 15 minutes and we'll rejoin. Or if you're talking on the phone, you could say, okay, hold on just a minute. I'll be right back. Whatever you can think of to create some space for you to get clear again about what's going on. And we don't think of that. We just keep pushing, right? We keep pushing through the conversation. We keep pushing, thinking that we're going to figure it out. And so if there's a way to just know that you have the power in that situation to create whatever space you need for yourself, you have 100% power to do that. To do that, and that helps you kind of get things back on track, and as we said before, figure out that imbalance. So yeah.
Thank you so much for the beautiful insight, Dr. K. You really
Yeah.
brought out the most important thing, which is looking for the remedies. We do know that
Yeah.
we have to control ourselves, but most importantly, looking for that remedies, looking for that possibilities. And what are the things? Listening, developing the skills of listening, getting the skills of projecting ourselves, and also knowing what to say next, and also knowing how we can go back and forth, and also try our best to develop the sense of resolving the issue. These things are always the features we can develop in our daily life. Most especially, the way we speak is very important. Most especially in the society we find ourselves, the way we speak, how we listen, and how we also respond, and also how we put things to the table really matters most of the time. It's caused because we are all from different cultures. How we put it on the table also really, really matters. So those little things are what we can try our best to develop in our daily life. If we can start to develop that in our daily life, I think we'll be in a better shape to resolve conflict, and we'll be in a position whereby no matter conflict that comes by the way, we are always the one who actually have the upper hand due to the way we control, or due to the way we maintain the remedies. We try our best to listen and try our best to get the back and forth, and we really resolved it more easily. Also, there is a question I normally ask during the end of the show, Dr. K. From our forefathers, from our ancestors, there are a lot of beautiful things that do exist during our ancestral time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Dr. K, what do you think that thing would be, Dr. K?
I believe that our ancestors knew how to stop and be at rest and to be in the moment of what was going on and to try to take in every part of the situation, whether it's their own physicalness, whether it's the sense of the air around them, what is going on in this space, or whether it's the confidence that yes, this is going to be worked out. If if we aren't working it out today in this moment, then we will simply do it again tomorrow. That there was not that urgency to get it all done. That's what I think is missing. Yeah,
We
that
need
they
to
did.
yeah, we need to slow down, to be honest. Everything is just in a hurry. We're in a hurry world, honestly speaking. Everything goes very fast. Everybody wants to do things quick. Everybody want to make money. We need to calm down. Let's spend time with family. Let's spend time with friends. Let's embrace people. Let's give to the poor. Let's take care of the poor. Most of the people that are really suffering seriously are the poor. Let's just try to show the sense of humanity by slowing down for the main time. It really, really helps every single one of us. I think if we can do that, the world will be in a very, it will be one unique and it will be in a very better place. And it will also show more humanity because or a person who actually received grace will actually also give grace to others. And that is the beauty. And also want to use this opportunity to thank you for the time, the opportunity you've given to me today. Conflict is everywhere. We face conflict conflict can come anytime and we can't avoid it. And that is just how the world is being programmed. But how can we build up the remedies to deal with it? That is what really matters. So thank you so much
Yes.
for the time and the opportunity, Dr. K.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you. And I did forget to say one thing at the beginning.
Okay.
Um, uh, our conversation today is about regular everyday conflicts in relationships. I want to be sure and make that disclaimer. If there's a domestic violence situation or some other kind of violent conflict, that's not part of this discussion. So I just want to make that clear. I'm just advocating these things and talking about these things in our regular everyday life kind of conflict. So yes, and thank you for having me. It was such fun. It was great
Very,
fun to talk with you.
very
Thank you.
important. So have a wonderful day, Dr. K. Bye bye.
Bye.